Good morning. Happy Friday. Hey, Austin, how's it going?
It's going great. It's Friday. It's been a nice week. Exciting times.
It has been a great week. Well, certainly for a lot of companies we cover. And like we said, we're starting off with a bang. Lots of stuff happening. There's obviously lots of political news. There's lots of chaos. There's lots of uncertainty, but there's lots happening in the market. Let's just jump right in and, and we're going to talk about a couple companies here. We're going to do a little catch up on Trigon because we're really impressed with what's happening over there. A little bit of news from NG Energy, which was a top pick of mine that was a bit of a sleeper because of COVID and whatnot. And there was quite a bit of unrest down in Colombia, but moving forward down there and the stock's reacting. So lots of stuff to talk about. Let's just talk. Let's talk a little bit about this transitory inflation.
Yeah, I like jumping on that train right away. That's I think a good place to start, and then we can kind of tie into the themes we're talking about and bring in the companies that kind of make us excited. So give us your hot take on transitory inflation, Andrew.
Yes, and once again, with anything in markets, just the same as in any kind of marketing or politics, is that if you keep on saying it and you have a loud enough horn, people might believe it. And I don't want people to panic either. We don't want that because as you go into these things, you don't need people to be panicking. And certainly, I don't have enough of a megaphone to have that many people panic. But here we go. August, the claim was the PPI was 0.7% for 1 month, and in July. But in August, right now they're saying it was 8.3%. So that's a bit of a jump for 1 month. We touched on also, the other day about freight costs going up 400 to 700%, depending on what market you're in, just randomly picking different things. You can go to the store, you'll notice the sizes are smaller, the cost is a bit more. And it was one thing, like when I'd go out to restaurants here and you'd see like portion sizes dramatically smaller, price a lot bigger. Part of me was kind of like, well, it's not a big deal. It's a treat now to be able to go out. It's a big deal. And also a lot of these restaurants, they're struggling, so I don't mind in a big way. I don't mind, supporting a lot of these businesses to keep the doors open and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So you don't mind paying overly inflated prices, but it's going to add up. It's all going to add up.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, you even notice it, just simple stuff like buying things at the grocery store. It's a crazy increase. It's nice to see that it's actually been acknowledged. I mean, we were talking before when they said, it was 0.7%, and we kind of said, I don't think that's an accurate number. So at least that, that 8% reflection now is probably a little bit closer to the actual truth. But it is something people need to be paying attention to and coming up with strategies of how you combat and hedge that. And there's different ways to do it. There's different avenues that certain people will take, but having a plan to combat inflation, which is going to be a very critical issue in the future here, is very important. Having a solid plan of how you are going to position yourself to weather that storm.
Yeah, and I was meeting with a fund in a couple of different companies yesterday as well, in some in mining, some in other industries, and they were even kind of just sharing, hey, listen, we need more rods for drilling, and it becomes an issue. Because it started off with talking about assay results, and everyone's kind of accepted that we could be 2 months, 3 months behind this year. Like it's going to be a bit of a wait for a lot of companies, and most people in the sector kind of understand that. That happens, but we're in a big commodity rush. People are paying more attention, lots more drilling, but it's going to be start getting annoying to people when it's like November and they're going, why are we not getting our results yet? But that just shows the shortage of work and whatnot in the area. We see there's a massive shortage in work right now across the board. Partly people don't want to go back to work because they're scared of getting the flu, or two, they are happy to collect unemployment because it pays more in the States than to go to work. So, I wouldn't blame someone if you don't have the skill set to do another job and you have to do manual or menial labor. It's not fun. I mean, it's not this, it's one side. The political party always says we want to have all these people come and there's all these jobs. They forget to leave out the details of all those jobs are, we want you to work at fast food. And that's very tough for any person to take, whether you grow up in this country or you feel grateful to be in it. it's not. It's a tough job, and they weren't designed to be that. They weren't designed to be career jobs for the rest of your life. They're designed for kids to get a head start in life, to work at them, to learn some skills, responsibility, and then move up. That was the promise that was given when the countries were more aligned and they were interested in their people. Once they kind of sold out and they went with this globalist idea, then it was, kind of, pillaging all of the other that one could, sending all of our manufacturing over to the cheapest place as possible, and then trying to import the labor if necessary, to make them do the menial work that no one wants to do, but also that a whole generation was told they wouldn't have to do, where they pitched this whole, go to school, go to university, and there's jobs for you. And there wasn't, and they were happy to go, oh, wait, I can get people from India or China to do the job for half the price. Oh, okay, forget it. So it's a problem that they created themselves out of greed, and now it's coming back to haunt us. But in a good sense, we're starting to see it doesn't work. I mean, no surprise. I mean, they're pushing hard, and you can see the big authoritarian one world government idea or one big plan that they're going to force. It's coming. We've kept on kind of hinting at that and saying that for a while, but you can see it now, especially out of the U.S. And we won't go too far into this, but Biden said we're absolutely not going to mandate vaccines, and yesterday he said we're definitely going to mandate vaccines. That was a quick flip flop within a week. And regardless of your opinion on that or not, if you like critical reasoning and you like data, it's very clear what the answer and solution here is. But what I will leave with this is the people the loudest screaming about getting these shots are the very same people that you could look through their tweets whenever that Operation Warp Speed from Trump was on, that they were like, you're going to kill us. You're literally killing people. Yeah. It's the exact same people.
I'll never take that.
I'll never take your thing. And there's no safety. Now they're all going, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's freedom. It's total delusion. It's total and absolute delusion. And it's not hard to go back. There's people that actually catalog those. And it's literally the same people. They're out there promoting it. And it's this massive mental gap that is just shocking. But this is the times we live in. We live in a clown world, and it is upside down.
That's the way it rolls. And before we transition off the inflation conversation here, we got a great comment from Jesse. If Adam can pop this up on the screen as well. He said, the scary part is the younger generation that doesn't even have, oh, here it is. I've been telling people the economic impact of all this really hasn't even begun. Let's see in 2 years. You're totally right. It's a lot of younger people my age and around my age don't grasp the full impact of what inflation is even. And it doesn't even make sense in people's brains. And that, I think we can tie that back into a lot of issues. I think you can tie it right back into the education system in this country and people not having a basic understanding of monetary policy or how the financial system works, unless you end up, picking to go down that path in university, or it's something that you're interested in that you go and learn about yourself. But we shouldn't be putting that on people to just learn about it themselves.
No, I mean, a lot of education is indoctrination, and that's what it's there for. And it's one thing if you agree with the indoctrination, you think, oh, those are good, solid values. There are none anymore. We saw massive inflation for Western countries in the 80s. So we saw like 18%, which is shocking. Now, if you want to really talk inflation and you want to look at a period of time that is extremely comparable to today, you look at the Weimar Republic in Germany. And that's where you go to look at socially what's happening. The themes were very similar. They had Antifa back then. You see massive inflation where people would, like, a loaf of bread would go up in price by the end of the day. Your money becomes nothing. We're not going to see that kind of thing. We've got far better tools and whatnot, but it just shows periods of times where this can happen. But what's interesting with that one is the social unrest, the same things that most people haven't read any history and they don't know other than TV and movies, which is not even remotely close to what the actual history is if you read a lot of it. But they leave that out in school. So, whatever agenda that they've been pushing of this, let's focus more on, let's have like nice hugs and talk about, let's get along and pronouns. It's like, that's we've lived in this weird microcosm of time that if you look at the bigger scale of time, that is not reality. We've set up a very elusive or illusionary world for a whole bunch of kids that are going to get a real rude wake up very quickly. And it's either that kind of saying it'll be too late before the boot's on their neck and they won't realize what they've just done, or it's going to get very uncomfortable economically, socially, unrest, whatnot. But all of this is likely coming because I don't see the people that initiated all of this taking their foot off the pedal. They're all in, and it's not going to stop. But you're getting massive pushback, and the mainstream news will not play any of that, or they try to minimize it as much as possible. We're talking like it's massive pushback, and I don't think that they're going to find they enacted enough authoritarian rule to shut things down that they would have liked to pull it off. And at the end of the day, truth always wins out. We say reason always wins out. It might take time, and there's enough people that actually enjoy freedom, and that's what a lot of this is about. They like open markets, they like freedom, they like having real data, they like looking at data, and that's not what we have today. We have a lot of storytelling. We have a lot of nonsense, illogical thinking, and complete disregard of whether it's medical journals, research, science, and I'm always shocked. We won't go down the COVID path, but the amount of Harvard, MIT, Stanford doctors that'll come out, you can go find their papers and they'll say, here's the case, here's the data, here's everything, and they'll be dismissed, all because of Fauci says something, or a bureaucrat who's never actually had a patient. They've never dealt with any of these things. They've never had a patient that's had a flu or coronavirus of any kind. But anyways, this is important because, like all things in our world, the market is a reflection, just in a different way, of that society, and it's gone through the roof. I mean, it's like even some of the guys I was talking to yesterday said it's made more millionaires out of guys that you would never expect in the last year, during apparently the worst pandemic that's ever hit this planet. Somehow,
it's the biggest transfer of wealth we've ever seen.
That's all
crazy.
It is. Yeah.
And maybe that's an interesting kind of segue into another thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's I'm not a big fan of CNBC and what they do.
Nor should you.
Not necessarily a big fan of Jim Cramer, but I actually think he may have been onto something with this when he said, buy stocks along these 4 investment themes to navigate the gloomy markets. And it's interesting talking about themes. Anyone who kind of follows along with us knows we talk about themes a lot, and I'll just go over quickly kind of the themes he discussed. We'll highlight them, and then maybe we'll add a few of our own themes as well. So he says, how do you handle an increasingly gloomy market? You got a solution. You buy companies that fit broader themes, ones that you can always buy more stocks of if they're getting clobbered. The first one he highlighted is cybersecurity. And I'll go right in and say I love that. That's extremely important. Anyone who follows along knows we love Globex Data and their products secure and what they do over there. You did a heck of an interview with Alain, the CEO. It came out this morning. I encourage everyone to go check that out. Really exciting kind of hype around the stock as well. It's gone from the kind of mid 30 cents range up to 50 cents recently. Yeah. They've got cash in the bank. That is,
they're raring to go.
Favorite stock. They're geared up and ready to go.
Oh yeah.
So I love the idea of paying attention to that theme. Second theme, anything that makes you feel or look better during the pandemic. That makes sense. People love feeling good. People love looking good. It's not necessarily my investment strategy, but it makes sense. It's, there is a lot of confusion and upset and disarray, regardless of what side of the argument that you're on right now. And anything that's going to be a quick gratification, make me feel better in the short term, that's what people cling to. That's why you see the rise of TikTok and people getting really popular for their opinions on Twitter and stuff like that.
And let me just jump in and just say something with that, like buying stuff, is that the number one thing there should be, and we know this is true from all the studies that are come out too, is get in shape, lose some weight. COVID is affecting people that have primarily obese or extremely overweight and also have diabetes. So if you want to have the best plan of treatment, eat proper food, eat healthy, eat real food, and get some exercise. I mean, like food is medicine. So that's a separate conversation. But if you want to look good, feel good, whatnot, it doesn't matter if I put on a different colored shirt. But if I treat myself right, meditate, eat proper food, that's going to make a huge difference in your life.
It is for sure, and it's a critical thing that needs to be talked about. Regardless of what side of the issue you stand on, you can look at all the data, all the evidence, and look at death counts, and it's easy to see. Okay, yeah, there are unvaccinated and vaccinated people dying. So how do you take the precaution to kind of charge against that? Well, get healthy, eat right. That's what we really should be talking about.
Boost your immunity.
Get in shape. Vitamins. Jeez, take some zinc, take some vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D. Those are all going to help
veggies.
You build your immune system up. But to get back on track here, third theme that he said we should be paying attention to, which I really think is big, remains Federal Reserve policy and the digitalization of everything. One company that fits that, kind of digital sphere. He mentions UiPath. There are tons of cool enterprise automation companies out there that you can look at. We even talked about the Face Drive, who had a nice, interesting little run. We mentioned them. But there are tons of different stocks in that sector that you can get really excited about.
Let me jump in with GMG on that, because they make those batteries, and we see they're perfect for this Internet of Things. I mean, that's a great play. They make those small batteries. Those batteries are proven to be, I mean, the growth in there, the power conversion and application is so much better than anything else out there. They're the first one comes to mind that could be applied today for this Internet of Things.
Yeah, they've got an easy, quick solution to the battery issue. They've got the most effective small, we're talking about cell phones, smartwatches, iPads, things like that. But they've got the most effective small batteries on the market out there. And bigger companies, I'm sure, are going to start looking at that and saying, hey, here's a way that we can really boost the battery life in our devices, the efficiency and the effectiveness of those devices. So I love that you tied that one in there. That's a really cool angle to take on that. And then the last one to kind of think about and talk about is empowerment through financial technology, which is big, and whether you want to look at like Hive blockchain or Coinbase or something like that, as far as the crypto side of things go, or even like a Wealthsimple, which has grown massively in the pandemic. Questrade, another one, even Robinhood, even though we hate those guys, they're a bunch of bastards. But but any of those kind of ones as well that are giving your average ordinary retail investor an easier access to getting into the market and trying to financially better themselves.
And they give a bit of education. Yeah, like Wealthsimple, they'll have a bit of education. You're not getting it anywhere else, which is great.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. So I think he actually highlights a lot of themes here that are important. And I know you've got a couple themes that you want to add on top of what he has. But I think that's a good foundation for people to actually start on and say, okay, let's strip it down. What overarching themes are going to be present that are going to be everlasting, regardless of kind of what direction things shift and change. You've got states in the U.S. that are going to go full bore, open power through this, which would be my personal take on things. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Canada depends. Again, different provinces might go different ways. A lot of blue states in the U.S. I'm sure we'll see them locking down again come October, November time. So you need things that are going to be overarching. What is going to remain constants through, regardless of which direction your government in your local area is going to handle things.
And I mean, and it's easy to see the numbers, the death tolls and whatnot. They haven't changed anywhere in the last years. So they're shifting the narrative to, well, what happens if people get sick? Well, guess what? We've had flu for our entire lives, and people had to take sick days. Like, people seem to forget that happened. People take 2 or 3 days because they're sick. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying it's the exact same thing, because it's not. And I've had COVID. It sucked. It was not fun. But I mean, it's a terrible flu, and it was very uncomfortable. But I'm also not 70 plus, and I'm not in that demographic that is going to be majorly affected by it. But yes, this at the end of the day is about freedom. And I want to tie this into the fact that there's been a bit of harsh words between China and, well, everywhere on the planet. There was fights between China and Australia, but now Australia has totally decided to go authoritarian. They seem to be the first to fall. They've just gone completely nuts, with absolutely no data or science to back that. But you can, if you want to get a sense of what they're trying to push, go take a look at Australia. And that's what all of this fear mongering is about. And it is at the end of the day, it's about control. And it's unfortunately, it's not even politics, because this isn't politics. People mostly think politics is, the liberals fighting with the conservatives over taxes, something really, I mean, that's pretty menial nowadays. This is ideology. This is complete authoritarian control. And we've touched on it. If you think your freedom comes from a company or from a government, I don't even know where to begin to talk to you. They don't give me any freedom. There's nothing that they can offer me or give me that I don't already have. They can come and try and take it from me. And a lot of times they can. I mean, you see that in authoritarian countries all over the place. You saw that with especially communism, where, kids would turn their parents in and off to the gulag you go. And that's what they want. They want a reliance on the state, or reliance so heavily and so desperate that you can't get on planes, you can't go to restaurants. Soon it'll be, you can't have a bank account, you can't go buy food. And they're creating a two-tiered system that might seem conspiratorial and really extreme. It might be. Hopefully, it won't work. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to work, but doesn't mean they're not going to try. It's important to put that into context, because you see this overreaching arm throughout all of history with countries when they tried this type of thing. And I don't want to cause any more bad blood between China and the US and Canada. But listen, and this doesn't mean there's plenty of Chinese people here in Canada. They left for a reason. They didn't love it in China themselves. They wanted to come to a country with freedom. They're not going to be so excited about whenever the boot gets back on their neck. But listen, we need to take more control of our economy, of our country, of the values, and that doesn't include China. Let's put that just that way. I'm not going to make a lot of friends that way, but let's just be honest.
Well, no, I mean, you couldn't be more accurate in kind of saying that. I'll wrap up this with just, this little hot take from me. I think it boils down to, whether you think your freedom comes from government, that's given to you by people in charge, your nation, or whatever you want to call it, or if it's about, my freedom comes by the sheer privilege that I ended up on this floating rock hurtling through space, or, call it whatever you want. If you're religious, call it God, your creator, Zeus, whoever, or if it comes from the government. Personally, I think by just being citizens of this earth, we are free individual people with free will that have the opportunity to think and act for themselves. But before we go, we're running out of time here. I know you wanted to talk very quickly about Trigon and GasX.
Yes.
Let's hit those before, and then
let's just do a quick. Yeah, let me just jump on GasX quickly. We've been waiting on that, and there was lots of issues with COVID, and there was unrest in Colombia, and people accept that that's the case, and it was kind of stuck in a lull pattern. But you can see they're moving today, so the stock is doing very well, and we're up at $1.26, but it hit $1.45 today, so it's moved a lot in the last week or so. And you can see that they got their approvals. There's great market news coming out. They have their approvals for the license for CNU 9 and commencing their exploration program. We were kind of hoping that they were going to have, September was going to be big. We saw that the pipeline was coming along. We knew there's going to be news. Looks like it's happening. So we're excited to see that. And it could come at a better time because, with massive inflation, energy is key. How are you getting it? Where is it coming from? Big theme. And I'll leave the other themes. I think people know my other ones from before. We talked about it. Food shortage, the cyber security, and if you really want to be safe, it's where energy and how is energy made. All the commodities that are required. Some of those commodities are copper. And if you look at Trigon, this is a company that we're so impressed with because they're getting this combat mine up to speed in a fast pace. And this is a company with Jed Richardson, who is really kind of lit a fire under this. We're really looking forward to seeing this thing in production. It's going to be in production really soon. They've put in a lot of work in August. They did a round of financing, closed it pretty quick. Larissa Sprott's on the board. Of course, Eric Sprott's a big investor in the company. And Namibia is a wonderful place to work. It's a beautiful country. We've heard nothing but great things. We're going to be talking to Arno from Gratomic, and Gratomic is graphite in Namibia. But Trigon is one. It's going to be great. I mean, I love these. Like, this isn't just short term. This is they're getting ready to go, and it's excellent to see this. They had an updated feasibility study and reserves and inferred ratios. So we're looking forward to see in the next 3 months where this thing goes. But it's just great. The amount of work that they've done to refurbish this and get the story going is pretty exciting. It's a big theme, and once again, it's one to keep your eyes on. And copper is so critical moving forward.
It is, absolutely. And I'll just kind of tie in two really key things with Trigon as well to look at. I love a good looking chart. Last 5 days up 22%. Last 6 months up 130%. They're real. They're doing incredible things. If people haven't seen it, your interview with Jed is fantastic. I encourage people to check it out. It's an easy way to get really excited about that company. Like I mentioned earlier, the interview with Alain went live this morning as well. That's an easy sell on Globex and Secure and everything that they're doing over there. It's really fantastic companies that we're so happy that we get to work with and cover and chat about. And like we said, September's here. Things are ramping up. Things are getting really exciting.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks. Have a great weekend, everyone. Happy Friday. Sometimes there's some gloom out there, but make sure you get outside, enjoy yourself, get some fresh air. There's nothing better for your health, for your wellness than getting some fresh air, eating some good food, getting some exercise, and enjoying life, trying to get some of the stress out. Stress causes a lot of illness.
Yep, absolutely. Enjoy the weekend, relax, reset, and come in to Monday ready to tackle another week.
Beautiful. All right, guys, take care. Enjoy the weekend.
Take care, guys.